Welcome back to Little Boy of Hope's channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you don't know who I am already, I am a Diamond 4 League of Legends coach as of 3 years now. Today's video is going to teach you guys exactly how to carry from the ADC position, and if you haven't seen the top lane split push video yet, feel free to check that out. Just click on the link above in the top right corner of the video. If you are excited for today's video or simply want to show me some support, now is the perfect time for you to drop a like, make sure you're subbed for future content, and click on that notification button so that you can improve your gameplay to the next level. League of Legends is a difficult game because there's so much for you to have to know and learn to be able to win every lane every time. However, that's why I'm here, and if you enjoy the game as much as I do, with enough time and work put into the game, you too will be able to carry every game consistently. This is thanks to Riot's matchmaking system that they are able to detect smurfs, higher level players playing on low level accounts, along with like-minded players, and matching them up with others like them, making the game more playable and easier to learn for everyone. Moving on to the video, step number 1, even before the game starts, you need to be able to see everything and predict everything before it even happens. For example, Lucian and Rakan versus Varus and Lux. Now there are endless amounts of ways to win a lane and lose a lane, such as running out of mana, jungle presence, summoner spells, and etc, etc. But the main big ones for the point in today's video is going to be like so. For us to win this lane, we simply wait for or bait Lux or Varus to miss a skill shot, and then we are free to all in them in a life or death battle. And as long as Rakan hits his W on either Varus or Lux, we automatically win that lane, so long as he effectively uses his E to shield me twice. For us to lose this lane, we would have to get hit by Lux Q, or simply get out-traded by Varus/Lux poke. Super duper essential that you are able to pick up on enemy champion abilities even before queuing up for a game. I would say it might be possible for anyone to rank to high silver if they don't know every champion's abilities. However, maybe low gold if they're getting carried by a friend or a duo. But if you can't memorize or play out these fights ahead of time, that's no problem. Just remember, keep in mind that we all have to start somewhere, and when you lose a game, it only means that you are learning. After winning lane, after stomping on your enemies, after successfully shutting down jungle ganks in your lane, and after gaining item leads, level leads, and summoner spell leads, you eventually move on to other objectives, in short, rotating and how to rotate effectively. This is the #1 most confusing thing for most players, as staying in just one lane and fighting that one lane is easier than having to focus on what to do 2 versus 2 compared to 2 versus 5 or 5 versus 5, whatever that case may be. There are a few things you could do at this specific point in time, and that is option number 1, the lawnmower effect. Take one turret down at a time, bot, mid, top, or bot, top, mid. Option number 2, after securing 2 kills, or maybe even just 1 or 3, however many bot lane, take dragon with your jungler, press tab to ensure that your jungler has smite ready in case enemies show up to try and steal. If you're strong enough, which is rare unless you're absolutely getting so good at the game that no one can stop you, just continue pushing for the second tier turret bot lane. Generally, most people stick to either option 1 or 2. However, if you feel you're good enough, feel free to move on to option 3 and take the second tier bot turret. Step number 3 on how to carry your feeding teammates from the ADC position. Okay, so now you have everything on the map, and the hardest turrets to take are always the inhib turrets. You just can't seem to get past that point because everyone keeps dying. You need to be able to effectively group with your team and fight with them to ensure a winning victory. This is a lot harder than it sounds because, as you can see from my KDA this game, I've had to play safe and calculate the fights so many times in order to ensure that we were able to take as many objectives as possible along with losing as little as possible. Trust me, this game I did not farm for kills. I just did what I had to do to survive, to stay alive, because my team kept dying 4 versus 5 or 1 by 1. League is a team game, and ADC is a role where you perform the best when you're with the team. Performing consistent DPS, getting peeled for from your team, winning the team fights, and taking objectives. That's what an ADC does, and that's what League of Legends is, a team game. So if you're playing ADC, playing as a team is the most important thing for you to remember. Step number 4 to success. As an ADC, most people do a lot of damage, so they think, okay, I have to assassinate this person and I can kill the rest of the team. So they go all in 1 versus 5, or they front line and they get deleted immediately by a Garen or a GP or a Sion or a Lux, or get hit with CC and just die. So remember, you are an ADC. Your job is not to kill the enemy carry. Your job is to stay in the back and deal as much damage as possible, survive as long as possible. That way you can carry your team into victory and win team fights, take objectives, because without the ADC, there is no consistent DPS to take turrets unless you have someone like Trendemir, Master Yi, etc. on your team. If you find yourself dying in team fights, there's a few things that you may be doing wrong. First things first, you have to go back to step number 1. You need to be able to see every single champion's abilities from the 5 enemies to your 5 allies and use that effectively. How are you going to wombo combo with your team to ensure that you guys win the team fight? How are you going to stay behind and position yourself as an ADC so that you don't get hit by the Jarvan ulti, the Zed ulti, the Garen flash Q, alt ignite combo? Okay, let's say you know the champion's abilities, you know what to do in the team fights, but you're still dying. Perhaps you're not grouping effectively, perhaps you're not fighting 2 versus 2 or 5 versus 5. You're probably fighting 4 versus 5, 3 versus 5, and etc. So you gotta make sure that you have a numbers advantage before you go in. This is just gonna help you ensure your victory in team fights. If you think about it, going back to the start, 2 versus 2, when the enemy jungler ganks, 9 abilities are stronger than 6 abilities. So that's how you have to think about it as well. 5 versus 4, 20 abilities are stronger than 16 abilities. Okay, little boy of hope, I'm doing really good. They got a really fed top laner. I'm quite fed myself. I'm like 3-0. I have about half an item, 1300 gold more than my enemy ADC, and I'm doing pretty good. We get into team fights and I can't do any damage to Ornn or Rammus because our team is full AD and they built resistances against us. What do I do in this situation, little boy? This goes back to the beginning. You have to win your lane so hard that you have the item leads, the level lead. That way, when it comes time to fighting a tank, you have more items, you have more AD than the tank has armor. That is the number 1 most simple way for you to carry, is to win lane so that you can get your items, so you can get ahead, put the enemy ADC behind so that they don't do damage to your team, and that way you can do damage to their tanks while they can't do any damage to your tanks. But little boy of hope, that's not the answer that I was hoping for. I can't go back in time and change what I can do in the early game. What can I do? What else can I do? There must be something, some item I can buy. Bork, Last Whisper, something like that. I understand that's not the answer you wanted, because in a game you can't go back in time and redo the laning phase. All you can do is learn to do it better next time. The best answer I have to answer your question is 1. You can try to turtle, play the game out as long as you can. That way you can buy your items, and that way you can do damage. Or 2, you can try to assassin one squishy, whether that be the enemy ADC, support, or mage, or even jungler. It's a high risk, high reward play, but if you manage to successfully assassinate the ADC or the mage or even the support and able to get back out, your team's able to peel for you, great, good job. Sometimes that's just the way it's got to be played, but you don't always want to play it that way. You want to know that the reason why the game was so hard was because you failed to stomp on your enemy laners, you failed to win your lane, and that's why you're being punished, because the top lane won their lane harder than you won your lane. Okay, little boy, well, I won my lane and I'm currently 13-0, or maybe 13-5 you could say, and they have an enemy Zed that's 8-0. All he has to do is WEQ combo me and I'm dead. So what should I do in this instance? Well, in this instance, what you should do, there are a few options. You could buy Ninja Tabbies, you could buy Guardian Angel, Hourglass depending on the ADC you're playing, or Stopwatch. And then you can also stick next to your enemy. You can also encourage your support to build items like Iron Solari, Redemption, or Randuin's Omen. That way they can peel for you. With all the steps today, all the tips and tricks that you learn in this video, you should be able to take it and apply it to your next games, you should be able to consistently carry your games pretty much every game as long as you can apply most of these tips. There's a lot more tips and tricks, steps to carrying consistently, but these are the main biggest ones. If you ever have any questions or want to know what to work on, you can always come back to this video if you're an ADC. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it below in the comment section below. That way I can answer it in our next video. Anyways, that is going to be it for today's video. Make sure to remember to press like, comment below what you thought of the video, if it helped you or not, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are already subscribed, make sure to click on the bell to turn on all the notifications for future videos. I'm going to be releasing every Friday. Thank you so much for watching today's videos. Here are the rest of the other videos. If you have not yet seen them, I would suggest you to go ahead and click on them. Other than that, thank you so much for always supporting me and being the best. I'm gonna leave a link to all of my social media down below. If you're new to the game or if you feel you need any coaching, feel free to hit me up on Discord, Twitter, any sort of social media. One more thing I want to quickly say before the video comes to an end. Let me know once again in the comment below what helped and what didn't. And if you didn't learn anything from today's video, feel free to add any other tips you have for others. Other than that, Little Boy of Hope is out.